Okay, everyone. So we're back for another video. You can relax because everyone can relax because I got my hands on some moisturizer. So everything's okay. Thanks to that person for the advice. Uh, I did actually get a pimple though. Okay. So to the person who gave me the advice about moisturizer, reducing the aging effects of coffee or mitigating them or counteracting them, whatever. Um, Look, I'm not upset with you. Firstly, because the only way to justify the belief that using moisturizer causes pimples on the face would be by induction, and there's a problem with that, namely Hume's problem of induction. Okay, so I don't hold you responsible, and our bond is so strong that we will get through this hiccup. Um, but Oh, and by the way, this isn't a dress. This is a blanket, um, because it's late and had a lot of stuff to do today, and it's cold, so I'm on my couch, where it's all snuggy rug. These are thermals. You might want to invest in a set of these. Um, yeah, it's good out here. Um, so what we are going to do in this video is basically we're going to continue with the draft, but I'm going to run it a little differently than in the previous video. So what I'm going to do is I'll share my browser, and you can see that we are still going to use Pomodoros. So I've set up a timer. I'm also going to play chess games in the break, okay? And also, this one will run a little differently. How? Um, well, in the previous video, I was explaining a lot of stuff about, like filling out an essay template, turning the essay template into an essay plan, and, you know, starting the drafting process, drafting body paragraphs and things like that. So I was thinking out loud to simulate the student writing the essay and clarifying one's thinking. But I was also explaining a lot of stuff out of scenario too. So I was saying like, this is why you do things like this, or this is the motivation for doing X, Y, Z, yada yada yada. So I'm going to do a lot less explaining in this video and just a lot more thinking out loud, so I can just sort of power write the rest of the draft. We are like just under halfway through the draft, and the second half of the draft is actually going to go really, really quick because I keep emphasizing during these essay writing videos that the further into the task, okay, you get, the more steps you've completed in the essay writing process, the easier things get. So actually, um, the the second half of the draft is going to fall out pretty quick. However, um, there are exceptions because you can run into hiccups along the way. So, you know, there may be a few hiccups as we write the second half of the draft, and when they come up, I'll deal with them. I'll show you how to deal with hiccups. Okay. Um, because remember, the essay template and the essay plan is a guide. Okay. So, and that's just a guide for the draft, and the draft is just like a prototype. It's sort of just a rough idea of what uh your final draft is going to look like. It's a very, very rough um semblance of the final draft. Okay, so just thinking if I've got anything more to explain about how this essay will go. Yeah, so I'm going to explain what I'm doing a lot less because I'm really just applying the same process. So you're not really missing out on anything in that you haven't seen already if you've watched the previous vids. because I'm just applying the same process to the paragraphs I'm drafting in the body, and I'm just applying the process to a different topic because it's a different paragraph. And a paragraph develops like one topic and, like one topic, one point only. Okay. So, yeah, don't worry if I'm not explaining everything. I won't be leaving out anything that I didn't cover in previous videos. This is more of just a doing video. If something does come up that I think of that I don't think I've mentioned or explained in previous videos, then I'll pause what I'm doing for a minute or two and explain what it is. What else? What else? I think that's it. So without further ado, I think I will start the Pomodoro and finish paragraph 2. All right. We are not playing chess right now because we are about to get to work. So you won't hear this nasty sounding beep, but just know that it's nasty. All right. So we're on duty now. What I will do, share the draft. Okay, where were we at? Right, we'd almost finished body paragraph 2. I'll just read it. Topic sentence: mutual cooperation between states in the form of economic sanctions can compel world leaders to reduce emissions. If world leaders know that they'll get sanctioned for missing greenhouse gas emission targets, non-cooperation becomes costly. Ideally, we want non-cooperation to be more expensive than cooperation. That way, we're likely to perceive cooperation as the rational choice, or they're likely to perceive cooperation as the rational choice. Coercion can produce temperance and responsible behavior, which is precisely what is required to escape a prisoner's dilemma. This kind of coercion can take the form of economic sanctions. Harden employs an example about citizens parking their vehicles for too long. In order to deter motorists from parking for too long, we need not prohibit them from parking too long. We just have to make it too expensive. Okay. Well, so I kind of need to wrap that paragraph up, and I need to throw in a linking sentence. Okay. So I'll just say something like, similarly, we don't need to prohibit greenhouse gas emissions or something like that. It's probably not what I want to say, but it's a start, and it's just important that I start writing, because once I've got something, I can make it better. Or if it's garbage and I need to get rid of, like, total garbage, unacceptable, something that I don't even want to polish, it's off topic, I can just get rid of it. But it will, by learning why it's bad, I'll learn something about what to put there instead. Okay, so similarly, we don't need to prohibit greenhouse gas emissions. We only need to make it too expensive. Okay, so we only need to make it too expensive. All right, now I need to link expensive so that cooperation becomes the economically rational choice. All right. Okay, now I got a link. Link, Billy. Well, the linking sentence links to topic sentence of the next paragraph. So what is the topic sentence of the next paragraph? Economic sanctions really have to be costly enough on world leaders and their economies, because then not reducing your greenhouse gas emissions becomes the expensive thing rather than the cheap thing. Oh, we may have a hiccup here. We may have a hiccup because look at what happens. The topic sentence of body paragraph 3 really just asserts what I've argued in body paragraph 2. Or does it? Mutual coercion between states can compel. Well, okay, so the topic sentence here basically says that it's possible, some form of coercion can compel world leaders to reduce emissions, that it's possible, all right? But the topic sentence of body paragraph 3, body paragraph 2's topic sentence is suggesting that economic sanctions could compel world leaders to reduce their emissions. So it's possible that sanctions could achieve what they're intended to achieve in this scenario. All right, is that the same as what topic sentence body paragraph 3 says? Because if it is the same, just in different wording, then that's unnecessary repetition. I don't want to repeat myself in an essay because I don't have a lot of words to play with. So economic sanctions really have to be costly enough on world leaders and their economies, because then not reducing your greenhouse gas emissions becomes the expensive thing rather than the cheap thing. Okay, so now I need to go through body paragraph 2 and see whether what I'm really arguing in that paragraph is justification for the topic sentence of body paragraph 2 instead. It's probably a little from column A and a little from column B. Okay, so in body paragraph 2, basically saying that if the sanctions make non-cooperation costly, and ideally more expensive, ideally make non-cooperation more expensive than cooperation, uh, then it would be rational to reduce emissions. And that's why mutual coercion between states could compel world leaders to reduce emissions. Okay, yeah, so I guess that is evidence for the topic sentence there, because this topic sentence says that it's possible to make world leaders reduce their emissions by using coercion. And if I claim that it's possible, well, then a paragraph that justifies that conclusion, even though it appears at the top, it's still a conclusion, would have to explain why it was possible. And the why is that it inverts the cost benefit analysis, right? Okay, so now let's return to body paragraph 3. Economic sanctions really have to be costly enough on world leaders and their economies, because then not reducing your greenhouse gas emissions becomes the expensive thing rather than the cheap thing. Okay, so what's occurred here is that what I've said in the topic sentence of body paragraph 3 is something that appears in the argument of body paragraph 2 to justify the topic sentence of body paragraph 2. So that is some repetition. Right. Let's look at the evidence. What did I? Oh, I've repeated my evidence. Okay. Well, that's a hiccup, which means I'm going to have to replan. Okay. But maybe what will occur is that I will reach the word count and I won't need a third paragraph. the objection paragraph would be my third paragraph. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a strike through this, okay? And then I'm going to go into my objection paragraph because it's planned, all right? And I know that there's not going to be any repetition here. I'm going to double check, but I know there's not going to be any repetition here because this paragraph's about an objection, right? And none of my other paragraphs were about objections to my own argument. Okay, so let's start drafting the objection paragraph. Okay, so the objection paragraph is really saying that some world leaders, yeah, I mean, like the point it raises is that some world leaders of different nations might think that it's wrong for some nations to coerce other nations. Okay, so we covered this. We came up with an argument as to, some evidence as to, why we could dismiss it. Okay, and it's that it's mutual coercion. Okay, like we agreed upon the conditions at the outset. Yeah, when we had held that summit, all the bigwig world leaders came together and agreed that if anyone went back on the deal, they'd get sanctioned. All right. Oh yeah, and plus total ruin is on the line. Okay, so we are happy. For the most part, people in society are happy for coercive measures to be employed against citizens for the greater good. We have a police force that arrests people for shoplifting. So why couldn't that, kind of analogous reasoning extend to coercing other states to act responsibly when it comes to it? Yeah, that was okay. That's how we were going to dismiss the objection. Right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, a lot more is on the line than candy bars getting stolen by some kid at a 7-Eleven with a toy gun. Uh, okay. Let's try and flesh this paragraph out. Leave the topic sentence up there. And what I will do is, okay, what, I should find some ways to describe some of the reasoning I've just thought in my head. Okay, why would the world leaders think it was wrong? Why might some world leaders think it's wrong for some nations to coerce others? It's basically you're imposing a value system on someone else, you're using force to impose that value system when they won't accept it, or you're imposing your preferences as to how they would act on them. Over their preferences as to how they would act. So, the issue is that we're basically like we're impinging upon their freedom, their liberty, right? That seems to be a good way to describe it. So, all right. So, they may think that coercion in the form of economic sanctions impinges on a nation's liberty and the welfare of its citizens, actually, because sometimes economic sanctions hurt the citizens much more than it does the popular support of those world leaders in the respective nations. Hmm. Okay, now, Billy, you gonna let that objection speak to you like that? You gonna sit down and take this? No. You're gonna slay this dragon. You need to dismiss this bad boy. This is gonna stand in the way of our conclusion. We've written 865 words. It's too far to turn back now, unless the objection's too strong, right? But I've managed to uh, convince ourselves. I've managed to convince myself that that it's not too strong and I can dismiss it. All right. This is going to be a battle. So I'm going to need some coffee. I left it out of arm's reach. Oh, there we go. All right. You can't dismiss an objection without coffee. Oh. All right. Well, we got a signpost in an essay. All right. Actually, I should employ this as well. Furthermore, I may argue that it amounts to imposing one nation's value system, not to be confused with the political party, one nation's value system on another. Although that confusion could be forgiven because that party does seem to want to impose their particular value system on minority groups. But anyways, uh, this is a thinking out loud video. So they may argue that it amounts to imposing one nation's value system upon another. Great. So I'm going to put some spaces down here. So I can, look down at evidence and up at what I'm writing. Okay. So I need to signpost because we're about to change direction. All right. We were strengthening the objection, providing some motivation for why that objection would be raised. All right. Now we're going to slap it down because it spoke to us rudely. Well, how am I going to do that? I'm going to need some evidence. Well, how am I going to signpost first? I'll just use one of those handy signposts words, and however is your typical go-to one. I'll change from it if I keep using the word however too much. However, this concern is unjustified. Well, is unjustified the right word? Because I'm not sure if I want to say something like that after I just provided some justification for it on behalf of the objector right above. What I'm really trying to say is that it doesn't stand up to it doesn't stand up to scrutiny. If that's what I'm really trying to say, then that's what I'm going to write. Okay, however, this concern does not stand up to scrutiny. Do I want to call it a concern? It doesn't matter because it's the first draft. I'll come back to it. However, this concern does not stand up to scrutiny. All right. You're going to have to use some evidence. My evidence came from Harden. Okay. right. So we are only recommending, so first person, I only recommend mutually agreed upon coercion as described by Hardin. Thank you, Hardin. Now, I'm gonna have to come down here because I know that I'm gonna have to cite that later. Bam. Right? Now, a bit of my own argument, which sort of came to me in my thoughts and which I didn't capture down here. But good thing it's still on the top of my head because I did a lot of thinking for this thing. I only recommend mutually agreed upon coercion as described by Hardin. I should finish this point out first. Recall that economic sanctions, recall that each nation, or each state is part of an agreement to sanction states that choose non-cooperation after pledging cooperation. So it is not it is no infringement upon a nation's liberty or state's liberty. You have to go back and be consistent with all of the nation and state and terminology. So it is no infringement upon a state's liberty to act towards nation's liberty if other states act towards it right, if other states take actions against its economy, that's clunky, I'll have to fix that later, it's against its economy in a manner take actions which that state has accepted. It'll just be simple. Yeah, so if I say, hey, is it okay if I do this to you? We make a contract, as in like, hey, let's all agree to do X, and if anyone fails to do X, there are going to be consequences. Now, some member or some party to the contract fails to do X, is it really an infringement upon that party's liberty to ensure that the consequences actually manifest themselves, like they actually obtain, they actually materialize? I don't think so. It'd probably be an infringement upon the liberty of all of the other parties in the contract, because they've done the hard work of keeping up their end of the bargain. Yeah, so it's actually the other way around. Hmm. Yeah, rather, it infringes upon the other nation's liberty and what were they at liberty to do? They were at liberty to reap the benefits of environmental conservation, so long as, they were at liberty to do this, so long as it was able to happen. And what would make it able to happen is all of the other nations agreeing to do their bit. That's the Pomodoro. Beep. So we're in a break. Okay, so I'm going to hit Control S. Autosave is on anyways. All right. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to share the browser. Okay, I think in the chess games in this video series, I am 3 wins and 1 loss. All right, so let's start a 1-minute game. All right, I'll pull this closer. All right, let's play. The plan is white. All right, push the pawn, temper development, make him waste the turn, moving a piece he's already moved, develop the knight, get ready to exchange the pawns in the center. That happens. Like clockwork, develop a bishop, get ready to recapture the knight. Oh, threatens bishop. Oh, I hope this move works as I plan. Sacrifice bishop. He takes, which removes the defender of the queen. Ah, now he tries to threaten my queen by developing the knight. Okay. Well, double attack. Who do you like more, knight or rook? Oh, the fact that my queen was hanging from the knight. You could have taken it. All right, I'm going to put this rook on an open file, develop this knight to threaten. Oh, that wasn't good. I'll take it because 2 minor pieces are worth a major piece. Oh, I thought he was going to take back and I was going to get it. All right. Come here. Now that knight is under threat. I'm going to go there. I'm going to take that. Now I'm going to take that. There's only 1 square to move to, buddy. Oh, I think it's over. That's not going to change anything. I'm down on time, but I'm up on position. I resigned. Good game, buddy. New game. See if we can get another game out in the break. All right, now I'm playing the black pieces for a change. Okay, this is called French defense. As long as he pushes the pawn, doesn't exchange, which he did. All right. This is why I like French defense, because you get a piece out first. Okay. All right. Develop a knight. Yep. So he's defending the B file. This queen. Threaten the bishop. Take it. So he loses bishop pair. Develop your own dark squared bishops. It's got more freedom of movement and allows you to castle. Let's get rid of this pawn so we have an open file that bears down on the side that he would usually castle on, develop bishop. Okay. put this rook on this file. It's about to become semi-open. Take that. Take that. Take that, because now we're going to sacrifice our queen so that when he takes back, we're going to skewer him with our rook. We didn't get too much advantage, really. We didn't go up very much. But let's gobble pawns while we're at it. I don't care if you take it, bro, because I'm going to start pushing this guy up. Let's exchange rooks, because I've got pawn advantage. Yeah, you can take it. Be my guest. Be my guest. Be my guest. Take it. Do it. Thought you would. Yep, take it. Go. Sorry. Yeah, now you're going to come down here and check me? You would. 15 seconds. I'm sorry, man. Oh, stalemate. Should have taken that pawn. It would have been checkmate. All right, let's see if we can get a new game out. All right, so I think I've added a win. And I've added a draw. Okay, we're back in a Pomodoro. I'll exchange that knight. Castle before he anywhere close to castling. All right, let's exchange in the middle. I want to take away a central pawn with a flanking pawn. Okay, interesting. I'll take the open file. Where are you gonna go, buddy? Just go up a pawn. Not a huge advantage. But better than nothing. Interesting. Yeah, I don't care about it. You take it, you check me, whatever. That was cute. Yeah, that's fine. It's all good. Are you gonna threaten it? It's all good, man. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna take your knight. That's okay. Now he's gonna take a pawn. Oh gosh. Oh, stalemate again. Okay. Managed to add one win. Some of those games are so quick that you can't realize that you're going to stalemate your opponent. It's embarrassing to stalemate. You're so close to a victory and you lose it. Okay, let's go back to sharing the screen. Oh, wait. Okay, draft. This is our first draft. We've almost finished the objection paragraph. That's taken us up to like 900 words. Okay. Rather, it infringes upon the other nation's liberty, upon the liberties of the other nations concerned, since they were at liberty to reap the benefits of reducing their greenhouse gas emissions. Their efforts are costly and the let's just say the payoff, and they have been denied. Let's just be funny and say the fruits of their labor. Their labor. Obviously not going to leave that like that. Because of the actions of the hypothetical non-cooperative state or nation or whatever. Tell me how to spell it. That's how you spell it. All right. Furthermore, cool. I'm getting more confident that I'm dismissing this objection, and it's getting easier as I go. Furthermore, what, Billy? Furthermore, it would be furthermore whatever other evidence you had for dismissing the objection. Yeah, you planned this thing, didn't you? Okay. What other evidence did I have? All right, there was bullet point number 2. Hardin only recommends mutual caution. Okay, yep, use that. All right, bullet point 3, or numbered bullet point 3. Injustice is preferable to total ruin. Yeah, what was I getting at there? Could have taken that that note down better. It's not really a hard and specific argument. I think many people already think that. What was Harden talking about there? Good thing I have a decent memory. Yeah, basically that it sometimes seems unjust to curb an individual's liberty or the liberty even of an entire society if we get more liberties as a result. Okay, so yeah, it's a bit counterintuitive, but for example, if we take away the liberty to murder people, take away the liberty to rob banks, we gain all these other liberties. We have the liberty to secure our money in safe places. We have the liberty to be free of bodily interference when we walk down the street. The we have the right to life. Okay. Yeah, if we allowed the liberty to just rob people and rob banks and to murder each other, then look how many liberties would go out the window simply for permitting those 3. So yeah, there are some kind of liberties that when you take them away, you provide a number of others in the process, the total of which exceeds the number of liberties you took away, supposing yourself to be like the ruler of a land or something that, or, the legislator. Okay, so furthermore, as Hardin argues, Hutton argues we often view the curtailment of certain liberties as morally justified in instances where we gain additional liberties greater in number than those that are curtailed. All right. Now, I remember, even though I took poor notes, or for that note, I took a poor note. I remember that's what Harden was talking about. I'm going to double check it in my sources. Yep, that's what he was talking about. Good. All right. So I slap that little tag in there to remind me to do a citation. Okay, now I need to explain this. I've used someone else's evidence, then I need to, evaluate it or elaborate on it. Okay. Consider imagine a society in which murder and theft is not prohibited. Intuitively, it does seem intuitive that individuals in this society do not enjoy a number, several liberties that are necessary for minimum for a does seem intuitive that individuals in this society do not enjoy several liberties that are necessary for a minimally acceptable standard of human welfare. Okay. Well, the society's members cannot travel safely with any guarantee that their person and property well, no one has any guarantee ever that they're safe and that their things won't get stolen. With much confidence that their person and property are secure, and nor that the nor that those nor that would be thieves and murderers are deterred by any threat of punishment that's really just saying the same point. So it's a because, not an nor that. It's not an or, it's a because there exists no what am I doing? No deterrent would be thieves and murderers. All right, I think I'm doing an okay job of using this evidence and evaluating it. Imagine a society in which murder and theft is not prohibited. It does seem intuitive that individuals in this society do not enjoy several liberties that are necessary for a minimally acceptable standard of human welfare. The society's members cannot travel safely with much confidence that their person and property are secure because there exists no deterrent to would-be thieves and murderers. It follows since freedom of movement is usually required to secure one's welfare. Society's members cannot travel safely with much confidence that their person and property are secure because there exists no deterrent to would-be thieves and murderers. Since freedom of movement is usually required to secure one's welfare, some form of coercive deterrent against murderers, against would-be murderers and thieves could actually, we were talking about liberties, so the removal of the liberty to, sounds funny to say murder, but I'll say it, to murder people and steal from them would secure other more valuable liberties for the members of our society. So when I say our, I don't mean literally our society. I mean, the society in the thought experiment. Anyways, I should clarify that later. I'll just clarify now in our hypothetical society. Right. So I should probably wrap this objection paragraph up now because I'm sitting at 1,119 words. And that's like 1,200. It's like close to 1,200, which was our word count, but I'm not too concerned about going over because I'm going to do proofreads and edits. Words are going to get cold. Probably going to find places where I've repeated myself. So hence, it is not wrong hence it is not morally unjustifiable. Hence it is not morally unjustifiable for states, for cooperative states to coerce non-cooperative states. On the contrary, not only is it morally permissible, but practically necessary to escape the prisoner's dilemma. Dun dun dun. All right. So it's good. Now, notice what I'm going to do here. And so not only is it morally hence it is not morally unjustifiable for cooperative states to use coercive or to coerce non-cooperative states. Not only is it morally permissible, but practically necessary to escape a prisoner's dilemma. Well, what that's doing, that's linking, right? So I should put that here. That's a linking sentence. And it's a special linking sentence because I know that the next paragraph is a conclusion. right? So the kind of linking sentence for my last paragraph isn't going to link to the topic sentence of another body paragraph. It's going to link to the conclusion. And what's really going on in the conclusion is just that I'm telling the reader what I've argued, and that involves a restatement of the thesis statement. So I kind of need to link to that thesis statement, not the topic sentence of another body paragraph. Practically necessary to escape the prisoner's dilemma and avoid catastrophic environmental and economic damage. Okay. All right. Great. So now that we have a draft, all right, we've got a first draft. That's all right. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to save this, right? And then I'm going to create a new Word document. I'll stop sharing that screen, adjust my laptop, I'll also adjust my blanket, and I'm going to share the new Word document. Probably going to take a short break soon. I mean, the Pomodoro is probably going to be up soon. But in that break, I'm not going to play chess and get something to eat. So I'll actually pause the timer because I'm getting a little bit hungry. So I'll take 5 or 10 minutes to eat some snacks. Maybe make another coffee. Oh yeah. See what you can get done on coffee. All right, now I'm going to hit Control V. Whoa, that was just a linking sentence. We're back to the draft. I'll hit Control A, Control C. All right, so that was the first draft. Stop sharing because now I've confused myself as to what I'm sharing, whether I'm sharing the new blank document or the first draft. A little bit of a jump outside of scenario there. Okay, back in scenario. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste it all in there. And, you know, it's looking decent. I know I'm going to have to do up that diagram later. I'm at the word count. I realized that this body paragraph was repetitive. I'd really just, its topic sentence here was really just something that was used as evidence in body paragraph 2. So what I'm going to do is get rid of all of this part that I've struck out, and if I feel like that it was a mistake to get rid of it, it's in my first draft and it's in my essay template, so no big deal. Okay, now what I will do is start getting rid of things like this. Okay. And this. Oh, did I link? Did I come up with a linking sentence? Oh, yes, this one here, I just wrote it at the end, that's all. Okay. Oh, yeah, yep. Okay, yep. All right, put that sucker there. That's actually not linking at all. Go back. We need a linking sentence. we'll just say, however, non-cooperative states may be, I don't know, I just say will, even though it's a lot stronger than maybe. I think it's pretty acceptable to say will because, you know, if a state gets sanctioned, they're going to condemn the sanctions. However, non-cooperative states, we'll just say are likely to condemn the sanctions imposed on them, and we should, what I'm trying to say is that, we should be sure that we're doing the right thing. Okay? So what I'm going to do is just say that and be simple because it's still drafty, it's still going to get polished. However, non-cooperative states are likely to condemn the sanctions imposed on them, and we should make sure we are acting morally when we employ mutually agreed upon coercion. Right. Okay, so back to what I was doing. So I'm going to get rid of this. Okay, now let's find any more evidence. Okay, so yep, we drafted the objection paragraph, so we can get rid of this stuff, and it all exists in other places. All right, cool. Sweet. Backspace. Okay, so I'm gonna look a bit more like an essay, and I'm gonna call this draft 2, right? And I will save it in my writing folder. Okay. What screen do I want to share now? Draft 2. Okay. And what I'll do is close draft 1 so that my tabs and all the apps and things I have open are more organized, just like when I'm sitting at a table. I like it to be nice and organized as a study space. Now, since I'm sitting at 902 words after getting rid of all that evidence, right? Once I write a conclusion, that will take me up to 100 words. And once I write an introduction, that will take me up to, okay, so intro and conclusion, what is it, 10%? So rule of thumb is 10% of the total word count, so that would be 120 for each. So that's a 1200 word essay. Oh, I don't have to think about this stuff. That's why I write it into the essay plan. Yeah, it's all there. introduction 120 words, conclusion 120 words, 240 words total. Okay, so it will take me up to 1100 words, roughly. 1140, 60 to play with. Okay, well, I like to delete these headings when I'm comfortable. What does that mean? Well, comfortable that my draft has addressed the essay question. It's just expressed in language that's often in places unacceptable to appear in an essay. And what makes me comfortable that I've addressed the essay question? Consulting the essay task sheet. So what I'm going to do is consult the essay task sheet. So I'm going to go back to sharing the screen. Go into the research folder. And there's the task sheet. Open that guy. And let's see what the task sheet says. Okay. Greenhouse gas emissions contribute to climate change. If the world does not take measures to reduce the world's carbon footprint, the evidence indicates that the Earth will become uninhabitable by the year hash diddy hash starity star. So, world leaders might be inclined to cooperate and reduce greenhouse gas emissions in order to protect the environment. If so, some may argue that economic sanctions are necessary since world leaders would be motivated to voluntarily reduce carbon emissions. Why might world leaders be hesitant to reduce carbon emissions despite the danger to the planet? Are economic sanctions necessary or unnecessary? Why or why not? Propose at least one solution. Okay, let's take the essay question bit by bit. Why might world leaders be hesitant to reduce carbon emissions? Because we are in a prisoner's dilemma. Okay, yeah, so I explained that in my essay. All right, or in my draft. Despite the danger to the planet. Yeah, because the prisoner's dilemma. Are economic sanctions necessary / unnecessary? Well, that's a yes/no question. I've said yes. Because we're in a prisoner's dilemma. And they would help us escape a prisoner's dilemma. That covers the why or why not part. Propose at least one solution. Okay. I haven't done that. All I've said is just sanction people. But it's not that simple. I mean, some nations emit more carbon than others, more greenhouse gas emissions than others. Is it really fair that in a nation like New Zealand uh foots the same amount of the economic bill as a nation like the United States that consumes a lot of the world's resources? Doesn't seem like it. It's still going to be economically costly when they reduce their emissions. This is going to hurt industry. right? It's just not going to be as costly as non-cooperation, so long as non-cooperation is, that, like to not cooperate is backed by sanctions, so long as, the other nations will sanction non-cooperators. That's still gonna be more costly um, than cooperation, but it seems like the cost of cooperation still should be, divided in some kind of fair way. All right, world leaders aren't going to be happy if they're going to have to do more of their bit to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And if some nation that contributes less to climate change is pulling much more of their weight when it comes to having to reduce, and their economy is suffering more than other countries, then that can really undo a lot of our hard work. That's something that can make nations decide to not cooperate. Um, they might pull out of an agreement. So whatever our solution is, it's got to tackle issues like this, and it's seems like it's going to have to involve some kind some kind of, you know fair shared distribution of the cost, right? I mean, like, suppose I live with a housemate and we both contribute $50 a week to groceries or something like that, right? But he or she eats 75% of the groceries. And like, so say 75% of the food we buy, let's say, yeah, we both contribute 50% of $50 to what it costs to eat. All right, my housemate eats like 75% of the food. I eat 25% each week. And there's no other agreements that sort of offset this so that it's fair on me and somehow compensate me for paying for 25% of the food that my housemate consumes. That wouldn't really be fair. It would be more fair if I paid $25 for the food, $25 worth of food that I eat, and my housemate pays $75 a week for the $75 worth of food that my housemate eats. And I think this is a good analogy, or at least decent analogy for the issue that we're dealing with here. That seems to have it seems that it requires some fair shared distribution of the cost. Okay. You know what? I think I read something about this in one of my sources. Oh, I'm glad I researched this widely. All right. Well, what source must have that been? This is why you do wide research. Let's see what my research folder has in it. And source one, source two. I've used source one and two. What I haven't used is source three. That was Gauss. So the other two sources were Harden and Gooden. Gauss was the other source I didn't use. Gaussy. What did Gauss have to say for us? All right. Just wondering how this can help. Okay. And I really need to go to the bathroom. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing because I don't remember what I was sharing. I wanted to share Gauss. Where are you, Gauss? Source 3, there you are. Public harm principle. First point, the lawn case is relatable to pollution. I remember Gauss talking about a lawn case. Environmental harms have a threshold effect. So with just one car on the road, there's no harm, but at some point there's enough people to do it. Okay. Threshold is, oh, okay, right. I remember Gauss was talking about threshold effects. Yes. All right. So I remember at a previous time, I was talking about, a thought experiment in which I happened to have asthma and, polluted air would upset my asthma. And the air was so polluted because there were so many vehicles on the roads. And, we couldn't really hold. Oh, that's a Pomodoro. I did start that timer late because I had to come back to it after the chess game. Right. Okay. So I'm going to take that break. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to actually stop recording. So I'm out of scenario now. I'm going to stop recording because then that file will convert and it will be converting whilst I'm filming the next session when I come back from eating some snacks, making a coffee. All right. And we'll keep going with this draft.